Before I start this video, I actually have recorded a video where how I would have booked Hulk Hogan's tribute show. That will be uploaded before the Smackdown review. And I'll even try to add this to the end of the video in case you guys want to watch it. I'll watch it both. Heck, why not just go check that out. But regardless, the reason why I say that and why I basically say how I would have booked Hulk Hogan's tribute show is because WWE, yes, it is time for your Smackdown review. Yeah, hi already, folks. WWE did do somewhat of a Hulk Hogan tribute show. The only problem is, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, WWE unfortunately did not go all out to do a proper tribute show for Hulk Hogan. I will give credit, at least they did something, and I'm happy they honored Hulk Hogan with at least a little bit. And I loved the first 10 minutes of the show. I think the first 10 minutes was the best thing they have done in a long time, and it just obviously sad to do it in a time where it's sad. It sucked that it took a death to do something nice, but again, it's Hulk Hogan. Anyways, it's always gonna be good when you see something about Hulk Hogan and you're a big fan of him. It just is a darn shame that Hulk Hogan passing away, and it's sad. It's a darn shame. So WWE, because of Hulk Hogan passing away the day prior, they have, of course, did a tribute show, which they needed to. But unfortunately, in my honest opinion, they did not do a proper one, or did not go all out as they should have. As I said in my video that I recorded prior to this, and I'm going to try to rephrase a little bit, but I'm probably even post it in the end of this video. WWE, they have done tribute shows again before. They've done it again for the infamous Eddie Guerrero tribute show, right? They did, but the difference I understand the differences. Like with Eddie Guerrero and Owen Hart, when they had people talk, when they had interviews of people thoughts of their deaths, and they did matches to honor those people, they were active wrestlers. It was a shock. Hulk Hogan, sadly, he's retired. He's a retired pro wrestler, okay? In the end of the day, I will say the different, and yes, there's been other wrestlers that sadly passed away that didn't really do much. If anything, they did enough, because let's be honest here, guys like Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes, Riley Piper weren't as big as Hulk Hogan. Even though they're well-known wrestlers, they're not as big as Hulk Hogan, who has completely changed the game and made WWE where it is today. If anything, Hulk Hogan helped WWE to where it is today. So, if anything, he kind of is warranted where he should have had a much more bigger tribute show, in my honest opinion. It's great to see that they had Jimmy Hart, Ted DiBiase, Jared Briscoe, I believe, and some of the wrestlers, Jim Duggan, Sergeant Slaughter, people who have been a part of Hulk Hogan's legacy. It's just a darn shame. I don't think that they have went all out where they should have. I would have, if I was booking the company, if I was booking, or if with my creative juices, I would have, if WWE should have planned much more. I understand this is only under 24 hours. They're planning a tribute show, right? Because Hulk Hogan passed away literally under 24 hours prior to this show. They should have essentially, if they can, you should have done the best you can with the roster you have. And even the people you still have in the active, you have Roman Reigns, who still you can call up and show up. You should have had Roman Reigns show up on this show. You should have had, if you could, you should have had John Cena, for God's sakes. This show honestly needed Cena. You needed Cena to capitalize on the whole unfortunate tragic scenario, not just as a heel aspect, but maybe a way to help develop his babyface turn. Because if anything, we all know Cena's going to turn babyface soon. You should have essentially had John Cena maybe come back to a babyface. You know what I mean? And a perfect way would have been him mentioning Hulk Hogan. Maybe even something with Cody Rhodes. With Cody Rhodes' segments, you should have John Cena there. And you could have Cody Rhodes present Cena with a Cena shirt. Not Cena shirt, a Hulk Hogan shirt. kind of brings him back. Like, yeah, I knew you were a Hulkamania too. When I want the real John Cena, I want you back to the real John Cena, the man who even loved Hulk Hogan. Like, we should have had that capitalize on that, you know. And I just didn't also like that the show, like, really, this show. The thing is, I do think that WWE, anyways, was planning a lackluster SmackDown where they literally were going to end the show with just a tag title match. They should have like made a bigger main event match planned. Like, why not like have like, you know, something honor Hulk Hogan, like a massive like tag match with a few people who, you know, resembled Hulkamania, you know, people who even work with Hulk Hogan. Like, they should have done a show, like I said in my booking video, like how I would book SmackDown's Hulk Hogan tribute show. You should have done something similar to maybe like, heck, do a massive mega power tag match where like Randy Orton, who is the last opponent of WWE in WWE's Hulk Hogan career, him teaming with Cody Rhodes, maybe them teaming up with Roman Reigns, you know, who is the modern Hulk Hogan, along with John Cena, right? They team up with also like with CM Punk, even, and even you know, who else? Jey Uso. They would have essentially faced John Cena. You know, why not? John Cena, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, Drew McIntyre, and also Gunter. You know, basically people who are feuding with each other, you make it a biggest match possible, you know, mega power, honoring Hulk Hogan's career. The match would have involved a leg drop, the match would have involved, you know, big power slam from one of the wrestlers to one of the bigger wrestlers, maybe, you know, John Cena, and especially establishing, like, you know, helping, like, you know, basically, you know, all these people have backstories with each other, have issues, have them, like, settle some scores, you know, tell a little story, and develop these stories within this match. You know, Cena, to help, like, with his whole, like, babyface turn eventually, well, not really turning babyface, but building towards it, kind of building to, like, you know, maybe becoming the old John Cena. He should have, like, had his issues with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, especially with what happened back at Night of Champions. Him FUing eventually Bronson Reed and just leaving the match. Maybe even leaving the match with the Hulk Hogan shirt that was gifted by Cody. And, you know, and then the show could have ended with a bigger, like, finisher fest. And, you know, maybe ended with Randy Orton with getting the win for Team Cody. And that would have been a great way to end the show. A perfect mega power all-star main event. It would have been a great way to end the show. It would have been a greater way to honor Hulk Hogan. Heck, you could even have, like, Jelly Roll show up to, like, stop Logan Paul from helping, like, Drew McIntyre throughout the match. With the legends, you know, with, like, Sergeant Slaughter, Jimmy Hart, and Ted DiBiase would have been there. Would have been awesome, you know. Also, the show should have had, like, you know, those guys, like, you know, talk about Hogan a little bit. Like, why not? It would have been great. But I feel like, unfortunately, with WWE, they didn't really capitalize. You know, they kind of took the lazy way route because they decided to do the show and like what they planned in general, which unfortunately was a somewhat boring, lame, unexciting tag title match. Which is like, why is that the main event? Like, that's literally a mid card shit. You know what I mean, folks? Cena not being there didn't help. You know, so honestly, Cena should have been there since it is, you know, after all, the sad passing of Hulk Hogan, and he is essentially the modern day Hulk Hogan. We should have had stuff like that happening, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. Well, whatever. It is what it is. I just felt like they should have done a bigger way of honoring Hulk Hogan's legacy. I don't hate what they did, but I feel like they didn't do much where they should have made it an important tribute show as it could have been. It would have been much more exciting if they had done a better and bigger tribute show. But it is what it is. I understand Hulk Hogan. You know, he's a retired wrestler. He's not like, you know, a shocking, you know, active wrestler that passes away like a Eddie Guerrero or, you know, Bray Wyatt even. But it should have honestly been a much more bigger fashion because he is the guy that helped wrestling where it is today. I would have loved if we had something like that, and they should have took the time and the money to actually offer these wrestlers to show up just for the honor Hulk Hogan. I understand timing is not always on the side of people. I understand that, but I just think they should have tried their best. But again, you had tribute shows where they asked a lot of wrestlers to show up anyways. Like, again, they did the way they did the Eddie Guerrero tribute, the way they did the Bray Wyatt tribute. They're capable of doing tribute shows, so I don't understand how they couldn't. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, we're gonna move on from what didn't happen to what did happen. And probably in the end of the video, I'm gonna post again the my little booking idea. But regardless, what did happen? So we're gonna talk about SmackDown. What did happen? The show was whatever. I honestly thought the show was not the best way again to honor Hulk Hogan, and it really wasn't even that great of a show. I mean, it wasn't a terrible show because you did have, and I will say, a fantastic 10-minute honoring Hulk Hogan. So the show did start with a bunch of wrestlers and the actor roster and some of the legends like Sergeant Slaughter, Jim Duggan, Jimmy Hart, Ted DiBiase, one of the Briscoes. They were there, right? They were there to show show their respects. They worked with Hulk Hogan, and Triple H was there. Triple H was the one who unfortunately made the announcement and talked about Hulk Hogan. He mentioned how, there would not be no WWE without Hulk Hogan. I think it was an honor to work with them, being a fan, and also, so they honored him with a 10-bell salute and an amazing video package. It was an amazing video package of honoring the life of Hulk Hogan. It was beautiful. It was narrated by Triple H as well, which I don't hate. I have no problem with, even though maybe Triple H is a little bit of an ego but I didn't hate it. At least I'm happy that they honored the man, and I thought it was a very beautiful video package to highlight the career of Hulk Hogan, from the beginning and to the end. So I'm very happy that they did that, and I think the 10 minutes was beautiful. It was a beautiful 10 minutes to showcase and honor Hulk Hogan. I just wish that they would have honored Hulk Hogan much more. Then, unfortunately, they went back to being a, kind of lame SmackDown. So, it was definitely, it was bittersweet. Definitely, thank you to Hulk Hogan. Yeah, they, said thank you, Hogan. And yeah, after that, we transformed back to, definitely the commentators kept mentioning Hogan, which is good. They should definitely do that. It just darn sure didn't really showcase much to really highlight Hulk Hogan. I felt like every commercial should have had Hulk Hogan's they didn't do that, where they didn't have multiple moments to showcase Hulk Hogan. But whatever. The show did eventually kick off with Logan Paul coming out. He then said, you guys were just saying thank you, Logan. So he mocked Hulk Hogan, which was good heel work. I will say that it was good heel work. I like that, somewhat, taking advantage of, the Hulk Hogan chance and becoming, it was good. But then eventually, it's like, yo, man, I'm from Cleveland. Why y'all hating me? Y'all were just saying thank you, Hogan, man. So, yeah, I like that. But then Jelly Roll showed up and just basically tell him to shut up. We're tired, how we're all tired of, you pretending that you're for Cleveland, but you're just basically, you're just basically a piece of shit asshole. Logan Paul did basically call him, you're just a stupid redneck and you're a nobody. And then basically Jelly Roll says, I'm representing all the WWE fans, man. I'm a wrestling fan, and I had to work hard. I'm gonna represent all the hard-working people who had to go through you, your jock had to be bullied by your jock self. And so basically they're trying to make this a bully facing his bullies type of deal. I don't know, but regardless, eventually Drew McIntyre came out, to just confront them, and then eventually we saw Randy Orton showing up. They get a little brawl. It was just kind of unrealistic to see Jelly Roll fighting off against Logan Paul and shit like that, but it's whatever. I mean, the crowd reacted to it, and then eventually Jelly Roll did a Black Hole Slam to Logan Paul. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate this segment, but I didn't love it at the same time. I just definitely think it's just it just kind of is just you're ruining your wrestlers. You know what I mean? You're ruining your wrestlers like with this. But I didn't hate this segment really. You know, that's a funny thing. Like really, 2 out of the 4 wrestlers are not actually like the homegrown wrestlers, and they're already like have more talent than a lot of these wrestlers on the roster. The first match of the official show, Roxanne Perez defeats Alexa Bliss just for all get is for momentum for their stupid tag title match, which I don't get. Whatever, it's just typical dumb WWE shit. Alexa Bliss was bleeding from the nose. I will give credit to WWE. They capitalize on like mentioning the bloody nose with Charlotte. I like that. Backstage, we saw Chelsea Green confronted by Jade Cargill after insulting Jade Cargill, like how she should have been the queen of the ring type of deal. I don't know when they showcased the Hogan stuff, but again, they did showcase Hogan, like, winning the WWE title in Madison Square Garden, the birth of Hulkamania, and him spicing Andre the Giant. They were separated throughout the show, but those were the only 2 clips that they showcased. I mean, to be fair, in the 10-minute opener, they did go through the entire career, so would it have made sense to really kind of like go to every moment? But it would have been great to see those little moments here and there throughout the show to just like honor Hulk Hogan. So I would have not had a problem if they'd done it. Sadly, it would have been great. Yeah, Jade Cargill defeats Chelsea Green after like I don't know, insulting her, and she decided to bring Chelsea Green out to the ring, and eventually makes a match for no reason. Then her Secret Service attacks Jade Cargill, and then Tiffany Stratton makes a save, and they did the whole all get it, can they coexist bullshit. Cody Rhodes appears. He then honors Hulk Hogan, which I will say that was awesome. Good on Cody. He says, whether you love him or hate him, it would be remiss to not mention the sad passing of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, whether you love him or not, was the man who transcended wrestling into where it is today. We thank you. He then mentions street fights. Like he then goes to now it's time to serious business. There's been many street fights, but I'm gonna fight for my life. He's gonna fight until he can't fight. Blah blah blah. But he wants to. Basically what Cody Rhodes did is But the thing is, I don't want to just face the John Cena of now. I want to face the real John Cena because I know it's not the real John Cena. I want to see if I can prove myself that if I can beat the real John Cena. So basically, he makes a challenge like, hey. Is John Cena still alive? Like bring back the old Cena type of deal. That's basically how they ended. That's how this Cody Rhodes promo went about it. It just sucked that Cena was not there to maybe do some heel work. Maybe mentioning Hulk Hogan or something to contribute. Like what would have been a great way to do something to storytelling. They should have had Cena there and just mentioned Cena used to being a Hulk Hogan fan and should have had Cody hey, I know something about you to bring back the real John Cena is this giving him a Hulk Hogan shirt would have been great something like that. Jacob Fatu's yo, yeah, I mean, man, y'all think you could lock me up? I'm gonna go, no gas, no brakes. I'm gonna beat your ass in a cage. And then the Miz is angry. For some reason, the Miz confronts Jacob Fatu. We're supposed to care about the Miz. For some reason, he mentions how he got attacked, and I don't even remember this, but whatever. See, some reason the Miz acts tough. Wait, is Jacob Fatu getting arrested now? Background. Anyways, the Miz, he's all cocky and he's serious for some reason, which is that's outside the norm. The Miz acts serious, you took me out, I want my revenge, I will me and you tonight. And then he slaps him and it's okay. Alright. And Jacob Fatu didn't really sell it, and, because, oh, man, I see you. Well, I'll beat the living shit out of you. So, WWE announced next week, get it, John Cena will be there, and then they're gonna have a women's U.S. title match, so which, again, a lot of these things should have, if WWE, they're doing 2 nights, how the hell they're not doing Damian Priest versus Aleister Black, which is a match they clearly were building to the past month. I don't get it, and they still have no time to even book a women's U.S. title match, which I don't even care for, but whatever. And yes, no R-Truth, by the way. R-Truth's not even showcased so much for his little buzz, right? Jacob Fatu defeats The Miz. And then after the match, the family tree attacked Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu tries to like fight off all of them. He was about to finish solo, but then gets overwhelmed by the family tree, even though Jimmy Uso tried to help him. The late night show featuring Tony Handkerchief was announced, but then it literally got canceled. I don't know why. Yeah, this got canceled, by the way. They announced it still, but then they decided to cancel it. Whatever. Zelina Vega confronts Julia, but then we have Kiana James, who's literally has missed the entire year, and she literally missed the entire year clearly for bigger reasons. Yeah, she's been gone the entire year, and now she definitely looks bigger. That's for sure. Yeah. Will there be bigger things for her? I do not know, but hey, I guess bigger is better, right? I don't know. I'm more of a natural type of guy, but hey, I don't discriminate normally. Hey, she's welcome to be back. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow. She has done nothing once she debuted, and now we're supposed to care about her again. I do not care. I don't know. She's always going to be remembered as the whatever. We saw Las Garza makes an open challenge for the AAA tag titles. I do not care. They're announcing Triple Mania partnership, whatever. And in the main event, we had a tag team brawl. Well, basically the Wyatt Six they were facing I believe they were facing what's their name? Andrade and Ray Phoenix. They had a promo earlier in the show how they're all about money and they were speaking in Spanish. I will say I didn't hate it, but I didn't care for it much. But at least I give credit where they were doing something different, where they were outside of the show. They're like, you know how they're all about money, whatever, and they're gonna show like case luchador, whatever. That main event happened. I don't think this was a perfect main event to honor Hulk Hogan. Clearly, they didn't care much about the show to make it about Hulk Hogan. What they did in the end of the day is on this show. So the main event, it basically became a tag team brawl. Bunch of tag teams brawled, and eventually Adam Pearce announced, like, you know what? You guys didn't learn the first time. Here's what's gonna happen. SummerSlam, all 6 of you teams will go on to face each other with the titles hang above in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. So yeah, they're doing TLC 2 basically with the modern tag team. That's what they're basically doing. They're trying to make this a somewhat of a modern style, and they're kind of, I guess, in a way, fixing what what happened back at WrestleMania time. How the basically the TLC match should have been on the pay-per-view. Yeah, they're gonna add this match now to SummerSlam. Hopefully, it'll be on one of the good nights. Maybe I might actually go to see. I wouldn't. I mean, hey, I will give credit. They are trying with the tag teams, right? They are trying, so I give credit to that. It's just I don't really care much, but hey, I guess like it's at least they're trying. And yeah, we're getting a TLC match at SummerSlam. Like, isn't that awesome? Like, we haven't seen a TLC match at SummerSlam in a long time, and the first TLC match was at SummerSlam 2000. So it's gonna be like what 25 years since then. So that's kind of awesome in a sense. It would kind of be cool. The Hardys representing TNA would be in this match, though. You know, it would be kind of cool. You know, heck, even the Dudleys. Why not make this like they should have done like they should make this a open challenge, not open challenge, an open team TLC match. Basically, the team who joins this match should have been a chaos TLC match, and that would have been fucking amazing if they could do that. If they could have the Hardys be part of this and the Dudleys, that would be amazing. You know, I would have loved if they could do something like that. If they can add more teams, make it like an open tag team open TLC match. Basically, that would be fucking awesome. But regardless, you know, that's something to look forward to. But do I think it's a main event worthy type of segment? No, it's not. It's clearly not. I would definitely have loved if they had, like, you know, at least even with maybe, you know, to end the show, like, if Cena could have been there, he didn't need to wrestle. You could have had a segment with him and Cody involving something with Hulk Hogan, or had something, you know, like, it would have been nice if they had, like, a big, mega power type of, you know, tag team type of match to honor Hulk Hogan, the Mega Powers type of deal. It would have been amazing. But sadly, they didn't. In the end of the day, I'm just happy that, you know, they mentioned Hulk Hogan. It would have been great if they, like, done more, but whatever. I do think they were a little lazy. But regardless, the show wasn't the worst Smackdown of all time. It just was really just you're lucky that you had something to get your ratings boost because, whatever. Hulk Hogan sadly passing away. Regardless, thank you, Hulk Hogan. We love you. We miss you. It would have been great if WWE honored him much more. It just sucked that we didn't see a lot of wrestlers honoring Hulk Hogan in terms of maybe like a shirt. But whatever. It is what it is. It does seem like a lot of wrestlers in nowadays don't really care about Hulk Hogan because a lot of them are like, the new generation style wrestlers. It really does seem like that. It would have been great to even hear like AJ Styles. I think AJ Styles was there. And we didn't get to see him like talk about it would have been great if he would mention him himself in TNA. It would have been great to even hear like maybe some legends speaking about Hulk Hogan, like maybe like a video package, maybe like something like a video, like maybe Sting mentioning about Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, all that kind of stuff. The wrestlers who couldn't show up in person. Regardless, though, that was SmackDown. I didn't hate the show, but I didn't love it at the same time. I felt that they could have done much more. So the show was kind of like much more relaxed, luster show as a whole, but at least it had a great opening segment, a great kind of like opener to honor Hulk Hogan. So that was my thoughts with SmackDown. That was my SmackDown review. I will actually right now post my second video, just a little special for y'all in case you don't want to see the other video, but it would be kind of cool if you guys could click on both regardless and help me out with them views, right? But regardless, man, thank you guys for watching. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Overall, the show was just not good, in my honest opinion. But hey, there were some positives, but there were a lot of negatives. But as for Hulk Hogan tribute, could have been much more better. Till next time, peace, yeah, bye, and check out the next video next. Or check out the video before, I don't know. You guys do what the fuck you want. In my opinion, WWE did not do their best to deliver a big Hulk Hogan tribute show. Hulk Hogan, in my honest opinion, deserved, even though he was retired, and I know like there's been wrestlers that were retired that had didn't really have a big tribute show. Like the difference between Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, well, even at the time with Chris Benoit and even Owen Hart, they had wrestlers who could be interviewed, and they actually, gave people the time to actually discuss their thoughts about the death. I think to an extent, yes, it's going to be very different because when a wrestler is retired, it's going to be different than like an active wrestler. So I kind of understand why they would not really do a similar style to like a Eddie Guerrero or even like an Owen Hart style type of a sadly passing type of tribute show. But if you're going to do a somewhat like a tribute show, it should have been similar to like what happened when the Ultimate Warrior passed away. Because I felt like when WWE did a tribute show to a wrestler who was a big star like Ultimate Warrior, they did more so a big tribute show to him. When on the Raw after his passing, they literally did a big tribute show. And they had the wrestlers dress up like, they had wrestlers honor Ultimate Warrior with his t-shirts and whatever. And it honestly made also a good show. My honest opinion, WWE did not try enough to do a big tribute show to Hulk Hogan. They just I will give credit though. I like that they opened the show with the first 10 minutes. And I think it was a great tribute based on that. My only problem is they didn't capitalize on making this a big tribute show that it should be. Especially, I do think with Hulk Hogan, he honestly deserves it since he was the man that honestly, without Hulk Hogan, without his contribution to professional wrestling and WWE would not be where it is today. So he honestly kind of deserved a little bit more, in my honest opinion. He played a major part in professional wrestling, especially with the WWE. They should have went all out to try to make the show much more than it was. Again, there's still time. With SmackDown, they only sadly had probably a day. They only literally had like a day to plan SmackDown, especially after what happened. So I completely understand. But in my opinion, there's still more they could have done. There was still more they could honestly have done to try to make this show much more better. For example, the things that they propose on the show and the people who they have in the active roster, they could have honestly made the show much more. So here's my little how I would book WWE's Hulk Hogan tribute show. With some of the things on SmackDown, I did not hate. First of all, we're keeping the 10-minute intro. I do think the intro and also honoring Hulk Hogan in the first 10 minutes was amazing. It was a perfect way to honor Hulk Hogan. What I would have done is on this show, we should have had a bigger and better main event to end the show, especially in honor of Hulk Hogan. I would have essentially have done and this was where like my creative juice was flowing, and where I would have done if I was part of creative. What they should have done is perhaps like a mega style. Heck, like I even like think like what would have been a perfect name for the SmackDown, a perfect obviously the Hulk Hogan tribute show, but you could have easily have done maybe like a mega power tag team match somewhat. What they should have done is they should have done perhaps like a mega probably the best tag match they could have ever put on, perhaps like a 5-on-5, and it would be based on the current main feuds. For example, I know John Cena was not booked for this show. Well, what they should have done exactly is that they should have had John Cena flown out just especially for this show. Add part of his schedule, because honestly, he kind of needed to be on this show. Since after all, John Cena is basically the modern day Hulk Hogan. He should have been on this show. They should have done basically what they could have done. They could have like a 5-on-5 tag match where it'll be like maybe Team Cena versus Team Cody even. Kind of something like that. And I would have done basically, it would be the team of Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Yes, we would try to make this show must see, where all the best stars on this show, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Randy Orton. Especially why Randy Orton? Because he was again Hulk Hogan's last WWE opponent. They would have gone on to face John Cena, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Drew McIntyre, and I would have even had Gunter take the place too. I would have basically had made that match would have been the big main event on this show. Given that again, maybe timing would have been a little different, but again, you have these guys on their main roster. It's not like you can't really like fly them out. To why not actually have them on the show? So I don't know why is it a big deal. Like they can't really like, hey, give them a call, like hey, have them try to show up and do actually something big. Especially as WWE, like actually put some effort on the show, do the best show in can, especially in honor of Hulk Hogan. This should have been a bigger deal than usual. This would have made a bigger SmackDown. So what I would have done, that would have been the main event. In terms of the Cody Rhodes promo, I think the Cody Rhodes promo, what he said in his promo, like he wants the old John Cena back, you should have had essentially John Cena on that segment as well. John Cena showing up, and then while Cody was saying he wants the old John Cena, he should have pulled out a Hulkamania shirt. And obviously, I do think this was a perfect opportunity as well, like to help transform John Cena slowly going back to a babyface. And again, even though it's very sad in real life Hulk Hogan passing away, this would have been a perfect opportunity to help advance some stories as well. Make it part of the show where Hulk Hogan, how Cena was a Hulkamaniac as well. Make it seem like Cena slowly becomes like a part of being babyface. Maybe you could have mentioned something about Hulk Hogan in the heelish promo, but then Cody Rhodes obviously interrupts him and all that, and you could even kind of like when he was saying, oh, he wants the old John Cena, he wants the real John Cena, he presents him a Hulkamania shirt, kind of like giving Cena back to someone respecting legends type of deal. And this would have also been perfect to play in the end of the show, where in the main event you could have had John Cena. Well, first off, why we're having all those 10 people in a big tag match? Because they're all feuding and to settle some scores, type of deal. What I would have done obviously is to continue past stories, the possibilities of each person involved with each other would have been amazing, and it would definitely help story sense and making people care about the freaking show. It would have been a massive big tag match, especially in honor of Hulk Hogan. In that match, there should be a big body slam. You never know, and it's also again, guys like Hulk Hogan, with Hulk Hogan's, the modern days of Hulk Hogan would have been John Cena, Roman Reigns, essentially. Have them clash in this match, essentially, and all that kind of stuff. There should definitely be, a big body slam in this match. And heck, John Cena, because he had, issues with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, there's dissension between them. John Cena, before leaving the match, because he doesn't care about this match, he basically, FUs Bronson Reed, showcase a strength type of deal, and then he leaves the match, but, while he had the match, basically, he should have had the Hogan shirt with him throughout the show, having with the Hogan shirt throughout the show, alongside, how he has his towel, basically, and then he just leaves with the Hogan shirt. And like the show ends obviously with the babyface winning. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. Basically Randy Orton maybe picking up the pin, kind of just in honor of like Hogan, him being the last opponent. The show ends with maybe Real American and John Cena like while he's like in the stage contemplating what's going on, and like even like kind of dealing with Hulk Hogan's death. He probably like puts the shirt down, maybe places the title on top of it, kind of like a throwback Eddie Guerrero segment type of thing when Eddie died. That itself I would have booked to be the biggest like matchup. That would have been a big way to end the freaking show. I think that would have been an amazing idea, if they were to able to do that. But unfortunately they didn't do it. But it would have been a great way. That would have honestly been a much more better way to end the show. That would be something great. What I also, I would also have the legends, like maybe like, Logan Paul tries to be involved in the match, but then the legends who were there to support Hogan, like Hacksaw, Ted DiBiase, Jimmy Hart, they would probably like try to stop Logan Paul along with help of Jelly Roll even, you know what I mean? Just make it like a big, it should essentially be a big tribute match to Hulk Hogan and his legacy. It would have been like great to like, also have like, people dropping leg drops and all that kind of stuff. It just a little throwback to Hulkamania, throwback to like the Mega Powers and all that kind of stuff. It would have been freaking amazing. Throwback to even Andre and Hogan, type of deal, right? I would have definitely have done, again, that segment with Cody would have been great with Cena in it. And not only that, other than those two big factors, the whole like tag title chaos thing, where leading to TLC match, that was fine. You could have had that instead, like maybe in the middle of the show while you're building towards the big main event, the big somewhat blockbuster main event, which I would have called it. You know what I mean? That's how I would have booked the show. Everything else would have been fine, But again, I felt like they also showcased bigger moments with Hogan. They really didn't showcase also a lot of video packages. They only showcased like him winning the WWE title at Madison Square Garden, and him also like basically facing Andre the Giant. They should have showcased definitely multiple moments like him in the NWO, him facing The Rock. The typical, and even his last title win against Triple H even, you know what I mean? Like, just stuff like that, and his last match with Randy Orton right before the main event of my idea. You could have still done the whole Jelly Roll segment with Randy Orton, but it would have led to the main event. You could have just easily cut out the whole, match with Chelsea Green and Jade Cargill, and yeah, obviously the tag title chaos thing could have been perfect for a middle of the show type of deal. But yeah, that itself right there would have been a better way to book Hulk Hogan's tribute show. That's what I would have done. But unfortunately, WWE did not really do much. And I'm going to tell you, like, again, the reason why they didn't decide to do much, because they simply did not really care much to really do much. That's the thing. They didn't want this unfortunate death to really overshadow the already plans they have, which was basically kind of lazy. If anything, if you think about it, a lot of it was a little lazy. Sure, they had legends coming out, but they didn't really do much with them. This should have been a perfect opportunity. Also, like throughout the show, you had maybe Ted DiBiase, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jimmy Hart, interviewed them a little bit, their thoughts of Hogan passing away. Would have been great, Obviously, Cena would being on the show could have showcased some heel stuff, but again, like, have that moment with him and Cody, wanting the old John Cena, having that, Hogan's, that itself makes the show, takes aspects of real life, and make it to good storylines. Like, that's what wrestling used to be, Because, yes, sure, is it a little too personal to transport stuff into a storyline? Yeah, but that's professional wrestling for you. In the end of the day, I know WWE tried, but they didn't really try it enough. They just decided to do whatever because, it's unfortunately, they're kind of a little lazy. They're just, they honor him, and they don't really care much to change the show. It would have been amazing if they really just, actually went all out to honor, they should have honored Hulk Hogan much more. He deserved it, And again, that idea would have helped. Like, why is it a problem to call up CM Punk? Why is it a problem to call up Roman Reigns? Hey, ask John Cena, hey, can you show up for, even with your Halloween, like, your busy schedule, like, why not? I mean, even if Cena wasn't there, like, I still think they could have done a bigger match. They could have even still, like, have done stuff without Cena if they couldn't really be there. But again, they have Roman Reigns. You can fly him out. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes is there. You should have done bigger stuff. Like, they should have done much more, I felt. Definitely should have honored Hulk Hogan much more. Especially, like, let's say, like, a match that would have honored Hogan's legacy. Like, they should have done something like that. Something, like, even similar to what happened when Bray Wyatt passed away. How they had Finn Balor versus LA Knight. They should have done essentially, stuff like that. Big matches. People who were involved with Hogan's career should have been on this show too. But at the end of the day, I understand like there was only like a few hours to. I mean, literally only like under 24 hours to plan the show. But at the end of the day, they should have planned a lot more. But regardless, I just wish they handled it better. But again, there's honestly not really much excuses, because with Bray Wyatt, when he died, there was only 24 hours as well when he passed away. It was only 24 hours. And they were able to do a wonderful tribute show, in all honesty. So I don't really think there's any excuses. So I don't understand why WWE really do much. So if anything, there's really no excuse, because they were able to still think about it, able to do a great tribute show when Bray Wyatt passed. Same thing with Eddie. I believe when Eddie passed away, it was only like, what, a day or two, unfortunately, when he sadly passed away. So there's really no excuse, if anything. You're still sadly a show that goes on 24/7. No matter what, no days off. You should definitely try to always like do the best you can, even with real life situations. But you know what? At least they did something. At least they mentioned Hulk Hogan. It was great to see the fans enjoy, honored Hulk Hogan, whatever. But at the end of the day, I just wish they kind of like honored Hogan much more. So, other than that, that's how I would have booked the show. Yeah. So that was my booking. That's like how I would have booked Hulk Hogan's tribute show aspect of the show. Hope that helps.